Hey everyone, I'm Black Lightning, and oh my gosh, I have to redo this recording because I did it before earlier today and it didn't go through. The mic didn't register in this program, and so I gotta do this over again. So, this is the second commentary video. The chapters I'm gonna be talking over would be chapters 4, 4.5, and 5 of the Binary Rose main story in the Multiverse Chamber, chapter 2 of the Multiverse Chamber story. So let's get started. Are you still a coon? And so, yeah, chapter 4. Let's do this. The genderqueer coon came to grace me with his presence. Wait, did I use the right pronoun?
Knock it off. I need your help, James.
Yeah, so James is an edgelord, if you didn't know that already. This is like his proper introduction to the story. He's an edgelord. He's also the antithesis of Black Lightning. They're complete opposites. Like James, what I was going for with James is that he represents the frustration and anger of the black community, of the injustice that black people face, and so he represents this anger and frustration. So that's why he's always angry, always an angry expression, always very serious when it comes to black people. And so like he's the complete opposite of Black Lightning. James is he's masculine. He's a black nationalist, while Black Lightning is feminine and he's a humanist. He's also Black Lightning is usually collected. Um, is if you see him flustered and such, then you know something's up. It's like something big happened. But he's usually calm and he's really carefree up until you know he like you saw in chapter 1. He freaked out like a bit. Like he because Megan was just pulling his strings. It's like no, how does this work? Like, but you, I won't say too much, but you, uh, yeah, I won't say too much, but yeah, just be on the lookout. You'll be seeing something really cool along with the next upload period. But yeah, um, yeah, they're opposites of each other, and I want to illustrate that here. Like chapter 4 is really the first start of me having a continuous story, which is great. Like I like that. This is when I also started doing emotion comic full time, like no stop. And I'm actually can come back to this chapter and be excited. Like I'm glad I did it this way.
And why should I help you? You don't have your own people in your heart. I've tried to explain my position, but none of you will let me finish.
A Black Lightning flashback.
Okay, here's why I disagree with.
Oh yeah, in case you guys didn't notice, this guy was cross-eyed. Like that was intentional. It wasn't a mistake. As you can see, everyone else is looking straight at Black Lightning, but he's just cross-eyed. I thought that was funny. So yeah, boom. Yeah, I was trying out with different facial features. That way, because you know a lot of people say there's the same face syndrome that a lot of people go through. So I wanted to play around with facial features. Yeah, a little narrow there, really broad there, and the bald chin. And yeah, he has a beard there, and yeah, she's a little bit more rounder, but she's how see how she's angular, but still kind of round enough. So yeah, that's a woman. She's a little bit more rounded here, instead of less angular as she's her face. So I was playing around with facial features because I know eventually I will have to draw other people than anyone unrelated to Black Lightning. So this is just preparing me for that day. So yeah, I was playing around. So just in case you guys are worried about, wait a minute, how is he like he's making all the characters look the same? No, I know about that, and I'm consciously trying to make people look different from each other. Like even the little aged face going on there. So that's why I did a diversity of. I mean, this isn't Of course, all these characters are black, different shades of black people, but I can draw white people as well. That's another thing. I need to introduce some white people in here. That way, people don't think I'm uh, excluding them.
Okay, here's
Because
why I disagree with black
the story of
nationalism.
humanity is to include everyone of every race. So, since I'm talking about the human condition, I might as well do that.
Oh, hell no, this nigga's a coon. Get his ass out of there.
Oh gosh, the N word. Like, that's the first time that actually happened. And I don't think it will happen often. So if you think this is like gonna be like some Boondocks thing, don't worry. The N word is rarely used. I don't know, but I might have to reconsider that because I mean, till this day, there's still a lot of black people who use the N word, and when I go to a black people centric chapter where James is the star of the chapter, like you won't see Black Lightning in it. That I guess I have no choice but to include it in there just to be authentic. So, but it will be black people saying the N word. But of course, I won't have the N word be used every 5 seconds because that would be annoying. I like to have some substance.
They were tenacious as heck. It took me a few planet jumps to lose them. Well, let's start fresh now. Are you still a coon? That question is loaded. Look, the black unity you want is just not going to happen. Get out. Wait, hear me out. During the civil rights movement, we had someone like Martin Luther King. Psh, I'm going to mention Malcolm X as well.
Yeah, as you can see, James take a liking more to Malcolm X than Martin Luther King. I know you could tell that, but it's going to be reiterated again in chapter 7. Like, this is really setting off the framework of chapter 7. Like, their eventual, like, this is just starting up their I guess their differences, but you'll really see that full force in chapter 7 because although they both agree that this white supremacy idea or white nationalist idea is a bit of a problem, they both come at it a different way, a different angle. So the ideology clashes a little bit. So you have a black nationalist against a humanist, and they're not going to agree. So yeah, this is going to set up the framework, and so you'll see James is not looking forward to the idea of Martin Luther King of integration, or trying to work together, fix this system so we can have justice for everyone in there. So you'll see in a minute. Well, in chapter 7.
Those two identified the same problem and wanted what was best for black people. However, they interpreted things differently and ultimately had different solutions. I'm not saying one was better than the other, but the point is they had different interpretations of the same problem. Our goal is similar. Although I want to help those who are in unfortunate situations regardless of race, I'd still be helping the black people you care about. Let's not let semantics and different interpretations divide us.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I was going for, like compromise. Like, even though these two people want the same thing, they should be able to compromise to work together because there's too many people trying to, I guess, control the narrative where you gotta think how I think, otherwise you're the enemy. And I think that is more divisive than ever. So Black Lightning's coming from okay, we need a compromise, like that our differences shouldn't matter. We should be able to work around our differences to come to a common goal. And then, of course, here's James' interpretation.
I like what you're saying, but due to our differences, further down the line we will get to a point where neither one of us can back down. It's either we on the same page in the beginning, or we break apart towards the end.
So there we go. So where James is coming from is actually realistic. Like, we're different. If we are to work together, we have to be on the same page. Otherwise, we'll break apart towards the end. Because sometimes people are just too different. Like, how do you work around that? Like, it's inevitable for these two different ideologies to clash. And of course, we'll see if they're able to work together in chapter 7. But yeah, that is a strong point there. Like, I wanted to make these two characters as practical as possible, or like at least nuanced as possible, because I didn't want James to be this person, everyone in the audience is going, yoo-hoo, yeah, get him, Black Lightning, or something like that. I wanted to make him realistic, where he would bring up a point that I think people would agree with, even if you don't agree with him completely. Like, say, okay, yeah, that's a good point, but I want to get the audience to think for themselves. And yeah, gone are the days where I bring up a point where, because I don't want everyone to look at Black Lightning and say, that's the character I should agree with 100% of the time. Like, sure, if you agree with them, that's great. But I don't want you to go like, oh, that's the smart character that I have to agree with all the time. Like, sometimes the other character, even though the character disagree with me, or agree with my personal views, or disagree with Black Lightning's viewpoints, they might bring up something that you might want to pay attention to. So that is a good point, that sometimes people are just too different. So how do we work around that?
If we ever get to that point, we compromise. The world doesn't revolve around us, so we shouldn't expect things to go our way completely. What matters is we continue to take another step forward.
Compromise.
Not good enough. You don't agree that there's systematic racism against black people. How do I know when I need your help, you won't side with our oppressors? After examining whatever future situation you're in, if you're in the right, I'll help. But I have a topic that will make us both happy. I'm going after Race Realist for the last time. Race Realist? Maybe you're not as much of a coon as I thought you were. I'm in.
Yes. Race realism is that bad of a topic that it brings these two together. Yeah, that's great. So, yeah. Boom. Cooperate.
Thanks? Well, I'm going to try something I haven't done before.
That
Even the
topic
Race
is
Realist
so
will have a hard time
unproductive.
challenging me. Oh, let me get something first.
Cute. Cute. Oh yes, now I can add on a little bit. Ooh, look at those thighs. But yeah, now I can add on to remember in chapter 3 with the previous commentary I told you that Black Lightning used Wing Chun, but he also adds this feminine ballerina type of vibe to it. So I want people's characteristics to shine through their fighting stances. So he's going to incorporate that cutesy ballerina stance as he fights. It's going to be very elegant. You won't see it until chapter 8, full swing. Because that's like, chapter 8 is pretty much that it's going to be a completely martial arts chapter. Like, things go down in there. You'll see why in chapter 7, but yeah. And yeah, I won't spoil what James's fighting style is. Oh yeah, another thing too, like the orange colors for James. You might think that's kind of weird, but the reason why it's orange like that is because it's fire. Hint, hint. I mean, if you saw my tweet, you already know what his ability is. It's the fire ability. He shoots fire from his palms. So I want their abilities to be different from each other.
How many men did you sleep with to afford this ship? Huh? None!
Yeah, that's the edgelord coming out again. A lot of people thought this was misogynistic, what James said. I wouldn't say a lot. It was just that one comment. It's probably still there. But it's not misogynistic because Black Lightning is a guy. Even though he presents feminine, he states that he is a guy, so he's a guy. That's not misogynistic. You could say that's very rude. Yeah, I can agree with you. Like, yeah, like, even Black Lightning countered that and said, like, what? None. Like, what are you talking about, man? So yeah, there's some counter there. And oh my gosh, I drew the legs thick. I don't know what I was going. I fixed that. Don't worry. If you look at the latest drawings I'm making, this is all fixed. The body's a lot more proportional because I am not. I'm only thick and where it counts. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh my gosh. So yeah. That's not misogynistic, but yeah, these characters are going to counter. Like, James is always going to make these edgelord comments. So
It belongs to a friend, but
be prepared to be offended, but also be on the lookout for Black Lightning's counter to his edgelordiness. Yeah, just chapter 7 is just going to be a fun chapter. you'll see these two interact really throughout the entire chapter. It's like, yeah.
We got separated. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I hope
Anyways,
he's okay too. Spot, come back.
this device contains all of my race realism videos. Why are you giving me this? I need you to get caught up on my sources if we're going to tackle the topic together. Alright, come in! I think I got the hang of flying a ship.
Uh-huh.
Don't make me regret this.
Alright, boom. A good setup for chapter 7. And, yeah. The first of the continuous plot storyline, which is great. I can't wait for that to be released. See how the audience react to it. And yeah, boom! The galaxy map. First time I used it for chapter 4.5, Two Suns Debunked. And there's going to be an upgrade to this as well, because I'm going to have the character icons above it, so you can easily follow along. So where everyone is at in the story currently would be placed as a little icon above each star system that they're in. So you can follow along more. So you can follow along where they're at in this area of the galaxy in relation to the other characters. So you know if they're closer, then chances are they're going to meet up soon, and they're too far away, then like maybe it'll take a chapter or two, maybe a mini chapter to explain, maybe I don't know what I'm saying, maybe a lot to explain how they travel to a nearby star system, so it makes a cameo a lot more likely. So yeah, I'm gonna upgrade it. You're gonna see that in the next upload, next new chapter. And yeah, and also give out planetary information. These are usually dark. It gives a very morbid, pessimistic outlook on the planets. But this one happens to be neutral, like extreme elliptical orbit, causing scorching summers and freezing winters. Visit during spring and fall. I forgot to mention that it's supposed to be a slow elliptical orbit, so it makes this a lot more likely. Because if it was fast, it probably wouldn't give much time for the planet to cool or heat up fast enough, or enough. So yeah, visit during the spring and fall if you see this fictional planet.
Look, there's two suns. Oh, I've seen that
It's also my first crack at an informative chapter.
before. It's a sundog. The hell's a sundog? I'll show you pictures of them from Earth before we left it, as I explained.
My first crack at an informative chapter. And I think it came out pretty well. I mean, you got both sides in this. Oh yeah, the first time I used Binary Rose title card, it makes it official that this is a series now, no longer about Black Lightning. I mean, even though he's in the front, it will eventually venture off and you'll see Black Lightning less in the forefront and more about other characters. I mean, he's still like the main character, of course, but it's like I want to branch out because I don't want people to think this is some kind of narcissistic product or project. It's not. My character is going to have flaws and may even have the potential to die before the story is done. So, no favoritism here. Two Suns Debunked, the first mini chapter. Ooh, watch that character model. Too angular there. You gotta have some meat there.
Well, under certain conditions, water drops and ice crystals in the sky can act like a...
And also kind of raise that chin up next time. I don't know why I'm criticizing my own artwork, but that's how you grow. I mean, you gotta criticize your own work. So yeah, this chin should go up just a little bit more. Cause see how this is, you can see the underside of the nose, the underside of that. So yeah, I just need a, cause I think the horizon line is about here. So this should be up a little bit. So you can see the underneath the jaw line. That's how that should appear.
prism. So sundogs are the colored spots of light that develop due to the light being refracted through ice crystals or water drops. You usually see them 22 degrees to the left, to the right, or sometimes both appearing beside the sun. Obviously, the thin halo connecting the sundogs is due to the ice crystals being refracted. These usually happen late fall, winter, early spring,
right,
which is why the pictures seem to be taken in the winter. But it's not impossible for it to appear during summer. That's not what I heard. Oh god. Look at these images. What I heard is that Earth has two suns, a real one and a fake one created by NASA to trick us. Why? How?
That's the thing I hear often, a lot. NASA is this super villainous organization. It's really funny, right? It's great.
I don't know, but the government can't be trusted. COINTELPRO, MK Ultra, man, you can't trust anything they say.
Oh, this is another thing I was talking about the two sides here. I didn't want James to be this. Oh, yeah, and it's also cool that he's also a conspiracy theorist, which is it comes with the territory. Like if you don't trust your government, eventually you're going to become a conspiracy theorist. You're going to agree. You're more likely to agree with these conspiracy theories if you distrust the government or think it's out to get you in some way. So yeah, it was a natural formation for his character. So it's not just something I made for James to just be this this character everyone could root against. No, it's not that way. And he also brings up some nuance here. Like, it's okay to not trust the government in some cases. So he's not a complete. I didn't want him to be like this idiot that people root against. He brings some truth to the table. The government is not completely trustworthy. And the government did make these experiments that we didn't know about until years after they were conducted and done. So it's not too far. I mean, he's not gone. I mean, of course, you can disagree with James. I disagree with James personally, but he brings up some truth. He has some nuance to his character.
Trust anything they say.
Position.
I don't think the government is completely trustworthy either, but basing your reasoning for there to be two suns on the trustworthiness of the government is silly. Also, sundogs
Yeah, it
don't
has
look like
fun
those
voice
images you
acting.
showed me. The first one you showed me looks like someone copied and pasted the actual sun. Those were tampered with. Alright, maybe those images were tampered with, but that doesn't prove me wrong. It's just like you to blindly listen to scientific explanations given to you instead of using your own senses. You soaked up the white man's science like a sponge, didn't you? The coonery is powerful with this one. Look, your position is unfalsifiable. There's a second sun. The government is untrustworthy and somehow has the technology to put most fantasy shows to shame. All counter-information is void because you assume they all come from white people. You created an impenetrable barrier of conveniences that all work for you. Yeah, and the science just happens to work for you. It doesn't. Science always leaves room open to disprove everything, but the same can't be said about your position. Because the facts are on my side.
Yeah.
Oh, let's agree to disagree.
That's the
And
internet
please,
debates.
don't bring up anything until we get to where we need to go.
That's how most internet debates are online. There is no winner. If you see yourself in this situation, please don't. If the other person thinks there has to be a winner or a loser, back out, eject immediately. Nothing productive comes from these things. Like, you think you're going to get a better understanding if someone's trying to quote unquote win the argument? No, it's just a shouting match. Both sides just end up wasting their time. So yeah, just don't argue with strangers on the internet. Try to prove a point with them. Like, yeah, it's okay to speak out. I mean, actually, and speaking of which, here's chapter 5. Don't let politics consume you. So yeah, what I was saying is that's just how most online debates go. It's just a shouting match. No one wins. This is why I prefer just talking with someone else. Just let's share our ideas. Like, I know we disagree, but let's just talk. And yeah, it's too many people are consumed with trying to win something to prove a point, to get some online cred that, yeah, I'm infallible. But no, like, that's so wrong. And yeah, and that's a planet. Yeah, this is a more morbid description of this planet. Well, I mean, even though it was a planet, it's now a moon because it's the moon of this huge gas giant here. And yeah, it's a small terrestrial planet captured by a gas giant. It will eventually be ripped apart due to tidal forces. So it's going to be a part of its ring eventually, it's getting closer and closer each year or each orbit. So eventually, it'll be ripped apart due to tidal forces and be a part of its rings. Yeah, I try to make it as realistic as like not. I try to add some scientific facts when I do research for these planets. I want them to be based realistically, but of course, I do have some freedom. I want to have some creative freedom here, so it may not be 100% scientifically accurate. As I said in the previous commentary, I just want to have fun, and yeah, but I will try to make it abide by the laws of current understanding of reality when I can. Ben and Megan chapter.
This
Yeah,
guy's so stupid.
yeah, if you see these two, then expect some lightheartedness because I want these two to.
Typical
Well, I'll explain
SJW.
later. A little bit later.
Hey Megan, you're one of the good ones.
Two genders.
How many genders are there? More than two. Not according to biology. You disappoint me yet again. It's more complicated than that, but I don't feel like arguing at the moment, Ben. Because you will lose in the debate.
So yeah, the whole genders thing. I personally leave it up to any people to decide for themselves. Like I think it's up to open interpretation. Like it's more of a psychological thing, more of a psychological identity thing. But if, of course, biological sex, is a hard science. So I don't know why I'm saying hard science. But yeah, it's more scientific. Where yeah, you're going to be limited if you talk about sex or biological sex. But of course, I know there are some fluidity there, even there. But I think it's conventional to say there's two sexes, and of course that's just because that's how we interpreted it. Um, of course, this is up. This is all human interpretation, but still, yeah. Generally, we seem to view sex as a function, male and female, because you need both of those sexes to reproduce a child, an offspring. So we typically say there's two sexes because functionally, that what happens. I mean, if there was a third function out of the sexes or something like that, or something that's outside of that realm, or it complements it in some way, then sure, maybe three sexes. But for now, it's two sexes because of practicality. This isn't to invalidate people's gender because gender is more of a social phenomenon, and I really leave it up to for people to decide for themselves when it comes to gender. And also another thing is, what I don't like is when people, I guess the anti-SJWs, they will invade every conversation and say, yeah, two genders, two genders. It's like, calm down. Like this is the same behavior you attack the quote unquote SJWs for when they do the tone policing, like don't make offensive jokes. This is exactly it. You're policing them on their gender by saying there's only two genders. Like just leave them alone. Like I'm more inclined to agree with, I guess, side with the people who think there's more than two genders, because that's like more freedom. Like be free to be yourself. Be yourself. But what these other people are doing are inhibiting freedom by, or at least, even if they're not trying to, they may say like we're not forcing people to think the way we do or forcing people to stop being themselves. But that's just annoying. Like you're just trying to be yourself, and then this guy just comes out of nowhere and say, "Oh, your gender isn't valid." like, calm down, dude. Let's knock it off. You're so bitter. So yeah, these people should just calm down. Let people be themselves. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the whole gender thing.
You spend an awful amount of time on politics. Do you ever take a break? When people stop saying stupid things. Oh, really? Field trip time.
So yeah, that I'm here, I get to explain the feel because, as I said, like the multiverse chapters are usually dark. These are really dark, and I'll talk more about that a little later because that's coming up next. But yeah, each character has a varying feel depending on the character we're following. Like Black Lightning, Spot, and James are heading towards a more serious story. Like yeah, they're both all three of them heading to a more serious story. Ben and Megan are usually lighthearted. Expect some lighthearted adventure here whenever these two are the star of the chapter. And wait, who's this person again? I'm kidding. Yeah, Layla. She'll be introduced soon, and she'll have her own feel. It'll be great. Like each character had their own feel to it, so don't worry. Like at the moment, since James and Black Lightning are paired together, their tones are shared at the moment. But eventually, Spot and Black Lightning are going to have their tone, and James is going to have his more of a black community, a conventional black community feel. A lot of black characters in the picture. Like he's gonna have his own host of friends that he's gonna be interacting with. And whenever he's on his own, when I eventually do that, he's gonna have his own feel, more of a hip hop, urban, not hip hop, but urban feel to his story. And yeah, please guys, do not compare that to the Boondocks. Please, you'll hurt me. So yeah, don't let politics consume you. Let's do this.
Stop! Unhand me, Lip Thought. There's a place I want us to explore. Have the gender roles been reversed, you'd be crying misogyny. Wait, what place?
So yeah, like Black Lightning and James are like the antithesis of each other. So is Ben and Megan. Like Ben is the conservative type character, and Megan is more liberal. I'll call her more of one of the progressive liberals, progressive character. Yeah.
Follow me.
And I also want them to also not be like stereotypes of their political ideology. Like I want them to have their own character feel. Like Megan is usually this more adventurous character. She's really crazy. She's not crazy. She's just more adventurous and often drive other people insane because they're not up to her speed when it comes to this stuff. And Ben, he's more of the straight guy here. He's like, oh my gosh, why is she having me do this stuff? So yeah. So I like these characters. These characters complement each other. Like he's the straight guy. He's like where the audience would be if they were in this situation. While Megan is almost unnaturally enthused to go on these little adventures. Like she tortured Black Lightning when they first met. So now she's about to torture Ben. But I don't think it was that bad here.
We're not getting on that, are we? What happened to the Jeep? Yes, and the Jeep is getting repaired. Hurry.
Also, this is the first chapter I made where you don't hear my normal voice at all. Like, both of these characters, I altered my voice to... I pretty much was completely voice acting. Like, for Ben, I went for something a little original. Like, I made it... I had to make it as different as I could. Of course, Megan is just a deeper version of my feminine voice. Probably can't do it both of them right now. Cause I think I need to stretch out my voice, like gargle some salt water, just get my vocal cords loose enough to just voice act. But
This is insane.
yeah, pretty cool. Get a glimpse of their abilities here.
This better be worth it. Just be patient.
Yeah, and these two, and you get a glimpse of their ability. Like Ben is this little blue bubble that he forms around anywhere of his body, really. But it's usually he can kind of use it creatively, as he did to get on the train. He used it to propel himself forward, which is pretty cool. But yeah, these characters usually are not affiliated with the whole main plot, like the Christian Order plot. So you'll be it'll be difficult to find these two connected with that. These two are here for more lighthearted fun. Sometimes it may get a little serious, but not to the point where um, now on the level of Black Lightning, Spot, and James.
Divinus Force lies attuned with untouched treasure. Really? I want 60%. I'll give you 75% if we find it.
And this is when it starts to take on more of a cartoony look. Like it definitely
I always share
looks
the
a lot
wealth.
more cartoony. Violent.
Something's coming our way!
Yeah, that's. I couldn't find any alien sound, so if in case you didn't know, I had to make the alien sound with my voice. I distorted it a little bit, but yeah, that's me. Uh, Hopefully, you guys didn't notice. It will. Yeah, it'd be cool if you said that was a good job. That way, I won't be crying in my pillow. Kidding. Oh yeah, there's the first fight scene. Oh, not the first fight scene. The second one. Yeah, this is just. Anyone would be feeling like him. Like, what just happened? He just broke the laws of physics there. It's like really?
Oh, my head. Forget the treasure. We're calling it off now.
And yeah, I think this is me just showing more of the world. I'm just crafting the world building here. Like, this is what will happen if you're on this planet. Because you're in a gas giant, that means your day and night cycles will be really quick. So it's like, boom, 1 minute is daytime, now it's nighttime. And then I also want to show these little bioluminescent things thriving in this kind of environment. Eating some of these flowers here. But yeah, I want to make it where the planets have a bit of a character going on. Because I don't want these to just be these little throwaway things. I want to be creative with these planets. Yeah, you still see them there. I'm just gonna let this part play because this is more tension.
Admit it, that was fun. I just noticed you didn't have your red backpack. There was no treasure, and you wasted my time. I have serious issues I have to talk about. Oops. You think the number of genders is a serious issue? No, like the state of our country. You know, it's scary not knowing what's going to happen next. It's like this train. If I don't do or say anything, then that means I'm okay with where it's going. I just get frustrated at how easy people accept change without thinking about whether or not it's okay. Despite the main things I say, I care about America and the people in it. That's why I don't take a break from it. Don't you feel the same way? Of course. See? Then I did nothing wrong. I'm not saying stay away from politics. It's important. Just don't let politics consume you. I broke up with a close friend of mine because of it, and I don't want that to happen to us. Take breaks here and there and have some fun, okay? Okay. Thanks. You're welcome.
Yeah. Just take breaks. Don't let this stuff consume you. Like I see a lot of people online, just consumed by outrage and bitterness. That it seems to like kind of consume them in a way. Like you can't be. This stuff is not making you happy. And some people just need to take a break from this stuff. But don't let it control you to a point where you're constantly texting or shouting angrily at strangers on the internet. Don't let other people control you that much. Yeah, just take breaks. Don't allow yourself to fall for that. Like I also had to learn the hard way because it is very negative and it can be hurtful. And a lot of people they allow it to control their lives to the point, control their happiness to the point where they're, especially if you're a content creator and like you're making content eventually. You'll eventually make content that you don't want to make, but you feel like you have to because you have an audience who are championing you to keep going, keep speaking the truth, keep fighting the good fight. But and eventually you're like you get tired of it, and then it causes you to snap and go crazy and do things you normally wouldn't do. And yeah, that's the nature of this whole political thing. Don't let it consume you to that point. If you're a content creator, take a break from this, or in fact, if you're going to talk about it, because I don't say the message here isn't to stay away from politics. It's to not let it consume you. So yeah, if you going to talk about it, but don't let it get to you. Don't let it make you get to the point where you're obsessed and outraged and over every little thing. Learn to live life, have fun, make the most out of what you were given, because life is too short, and you don't want your legacy or your legacy to be that of negativity, unproductiveness. And I'll say out of the entire Binary Rose series, that was my favorite part because it's so relevant to what's going on now. Yeah. So this was originally supposed to end here, but Chapter 5 kept going because I want to introduce a new villain, an antagonist. Yeah, so it's not a villain, it's more of an antagonist. Even though he looks evil, don't let that fool you. He's just an antagonist, he's not a villain with his one eye missing self. Yeah, his name is Ezekiel. The person in charge of the Christian order at the moment. So yeah, this is just setting up the main conflict of Binary Rose, but by introducing him. And yeah, he's definitely someone to behold. I mean, I think most of you seen Chapter 6. So, yeah, Chapter 6 already. So you have an idea of what he's capable of. And yeah, he's actually a bit of a threat at this moment. Like, he beat the crap out of Spot. Like, oh my gosh, Spot couldn't lay a hit on him. And I think that speaks volume of the skill gap here. Like you think the first time you see Spot or even Black Lightning fight was Chapter 3, and they held their own, but they were eventually overrun by the Pepes, the bad ones, actually, which is understandable because they were outnumbered. It was a logical conclusion that they were going to be outnumbered eventually, because the more you use your powers, the easier you are to get tired. And they were just spamming lightning abilities. Spot was using his energy sword, so eventually they were going to get overrun. So it was a logical conclusion that they were going to lose there. But in a 101, you finally get to see that in how a meme was hijacked. And yeah, there's a skill gap present there. Eventually you'll see the skill gap of Black Lightning and James versus whoever was going on. And yeah, eventually. So it'll be fun. Some fun times ahead. So let's do this. The final chapter of this entire video commentary.
These four worlds appeared sometime before you arrived, and they seem to be based on you.
Yeah, this is also introducing the idea of the multiverse theory. Why do we see multiple versions of Black Lightning, and like what's going on here? So the multiverse chamber is here to explain it, and yeah, it's here to explain it. I didn't want to explain it in the main chapter. Like the main chapter, they kind of just go along with it. It seems like it just like yeah, these people just kind of know, like, but they you could tell they had some history a bit, except for the Chibi Lightning. Like this, I don't think Black Lightning views Ben and Megan a complete copy of him because they look very different. So he just kind of say, okay, these are different people. But in here, I mean, as far as James, I think I wanted to establish there is some kind of history there. Because in chapter 4, he's like, I need your help, James. Like, how do you know his name if that was their first time meeting? So they met before. I just haven't shown it yet. So, yeah, it shows that they're kind of he's already used to the fact that, wait, this other guy looks exactly like me. What's going on here? So I want the multiverse chamber to explain that fact.
How's that possible? I'm not sure. Maybe the multiverse chamber is tied to you somehow. Anyway, something is sealing the alternative versions of you away. It doesn't look like something we can ignore. I know we just met, but I can't do this myself.
Keep it moving with the animations.
Okay, I'll help. I'm sending you to the first one. Are you ready? I'm ready.
And you can see the character design changing a bit each time, each camera. That's because this took a minute to make. So since that's what's going to happen if it takes a while to make a chapter, especially if you're the only one working on it. Eventually, you will get better, and by the time you keep coming back to it, you're like, oh, I learned something new. Let me apply that now. And it's like, oh crap, you end up looking at completely different character design. Well, not completely different, but you could notice some differences. Like with this one, like you don't see the arc with the hair that look almost like a cat ear. You'll see it from here. Yeah, like that. See how that's more round? And then boom, you see that now. So yeah, you learn things and you come back to it and you apply that new thing as you're working on it. So yeah, Multiverse Chamber is the darkest story out of everything. And yeah, pay attention to the bloody flower there. You'll be seeing that really soon. So yeah, it's the darkest one. It's more psychological. Like when these two appear, my gosh, oof, yeah. I mean, you're already going to start seeing some dark themes, starting with chapter 3, but it gets really messed up in chapter 4. So yeah, at least I'm letting you know now. Like Multiverse Chamber, if you see that in the title and you're kind of squeamish about certain things, at least you know. It's in the title. Yeah, like that. It looks almost like cat ears from the back. I mean, if I drew this like a year ago when I started doing this, you wouldn't see that. You'd see like this rounded hair color. And I like this part here. He just kind of soaks up his surroundings. It's very atmospheric. It's like, okay, what's going on here? Okay, that might be where I have to go. So let's go there. I like that. It's like he's not rushing to the objective. He's just taking his time.
I'll be able to guide you in this weaker body. Jeez, a little warning next time?
Yeah,
sorry.
Spot. What's wrong with you?
It's fine.
Tsundere, angry at the minute that he shows the softer side, like, it's fine. But don't do that again, Baka. I'm kidding. Oh, sorry for that cringe. But yeah. Yeah, I just want to set up, there's this little camera shot there showing that they're being watched.
If you don't mind me asking, why did you hesitate telling me your
what
name?
comes afterwards isn't so out of place.
I can hardly remember anything before it comes. What's that? Stay on guard. We're not alone.
Yeah, return. That took a while to make. Oh my gosh. Creepy imagery.
What?
These creatures come out. If you think that's disturbing, wait till you see the chapter 4. God.
The hell are those things? I don't know, but they aren't friendly.
And yes, a fight scene. Let's go.
Okay, asshole.
Get excited. Just a lightning strike to the back.
Be careful. There could be more. What have you gotten me into?
Yes, but what are you getting me into? Yeah, so yeah, since I we watched it over, and yeah, that there because he used a big burst of lightning, and that ripped their. Cause you, as you can see here, oh geez, that was a panty shot there. Yeah, if you pause at a certain area, you'll see that. Because I want to be realistic, so it's not that I'm perverted. He's in a skirt, so it naturally follows. I'm not a pervert. What are you talking about? I'm kidding. So yeah, as you can see here, they turn to smoke here when they get killed. So that that right there, when he shot stuff, it turned that huge smoke there. It's not because I was being lazy or anything. He just shocked him so hard that yeah, like he used a big bulk of his power there, and it ripped them to shreds because that's why the next one, because he can control the strength of his ability. That's why the next time he shocks them is it doesn't they don't turn to smoke immediately because he used a big bulk of his energy here and it weakened them. That's why it's not advised to just use your abilities. Like you have powers in this universe, but if you keep spamming them, you'll get tired and it'll be weaker the next time you use it. So that's why these characters rely more on martial arts. But somehow in this multiverse chamber, Black Lightning is using more brute force fighting. Why is that? I don't know. Where's the Wing Chun here? So yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. Spencer. Yeah, see, it was kind of weak there. I thought that was a really human moment there. It's like, even though these characters have these abilities, I didn't want them to be these people are like badass. I want them to still have a bit of a human touch to them. So this scene really illustrated it, where he's caught off guard, and his first reaction was to flinch and kind of take cover or try to block it or absorb it with his shoulder when he gets before he gets hit. Like, oh crap! Then boom.
Okay.
So yeah, these people don't have this sense of energy. Like I can sense your energy, so I can avoid your attack or something. No, they can get caught off guard.
So
He had enough. See that, and he didn't see that happen. He was prepared to block it, but Black Lightning teleported behind him, and he tried to look back, but it was too late. And so yeah, I try to make my fights like really detailed like that. So if people are paying attention, they're kind of awarded to this really nuanced character interaction as people are fighting.
be careful. There could be more.
I think that was at the moment, it's like one of my more well done fighting scenes. You get to see a lot of that happening. I think it's the only one so far that has that kind of touch to it. You won't see that happen again until possibly, I'll say chapter 8, since chapter 8 is really martial arts heavy. So yeah, you won't see that again until chapter 8. And actually, it'll be 2 chapters in that upload period that will have that character attraction anyway. So chapter 8 and the other chapter and that upload period. So be on the lookout for that. And I guess that concludes my video commentary. Cool. We got done a lot quicker this time around, I think. So yeah, next time I will just finish this off and complete the next 2 chapters. Just that way I'm all caught up, and all I have left to do is the latest chapters that will release very soon. Chapters 7, chapter 6.5 and 6.6, Multiverse Chamber chapter 3, and Binary Rose Fragmented Stories, the first story within that spin-off plot. So yeah, be on the lookout, and thanks for watching, and take care.